Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast, presented by Lincoln Financial Group. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro from the NovaCare Complex, and the Eagles getting ready for the Washington football team on Sunday, and we've got a great podcast for you. Today, we're going to obviously sit down with head coach Doug Pederson. That's what we do on Wednesdays. A one-on-one with the head coach. Should be exciting as we look forward to the do's and the don'ts on the road during COVID-19. What are the Eagles exactly allowed to do when they're on the road in the team hotel? It's going to be a lot different than in past years. We're also going to take a look inside the Washington football team with Zach Selby from the Washington football team website. And look who's back. Josh McCown, 41 years old, returns to the Eagles as a member of the team's practice squad. But first, let's visit with running back Corey Clement, whose rise as a rookie helped the Eagles win Super Bowl 52. Who can forget his 4 receptions for 100 yards, including this dandy of a 22-yard reception on a Nick Foles pass.
3rd down and 6. That line does a good job. The pass into the end zone, and it is Corey Clement. Yes, touchdown.
Since that game, though, times have been tough for Clement. Injuries in 2018 and 2019 shortened his season. And then this year, almost unthinkable, the Eagles did not tender Clement a contract offer as a restricted free agent. And so suddenly in March, he was on the streets. He could have signed with any team. As it turns out, 5 weeks later, he returned to the Eagles, a different man with a new perspective. Here we go, one-on-one with running back Corey Clement.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Corey. How are you?
Doing good. How you feeling, buddy?
Good, man. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, you're good.
Hey, listen, I'd like to start with what went through. First of all, I'd like to start with this. You're here. It's week 1. Have you reflected on the crazy off season that you've had, starting with being released and, I don't know, really finding yourself mentally again? I mean, have you thought about how special it is to be sitting here just a few days away from the opener?
Yeah. I mean, certain family members had to remind me what I just. It's funny you said that. They almost reminded me of what I just went through, just to get back to the point I'm at, mentally and physically, all just being there, enjoying the game again, and getting back to week 1. You know me, I'm just playing football every day, so I really don't see it as much of it as a big deal as to the outside. But they say you went through a vigorous process of being released, and then mentally that hurts any football player from being pulled from your favorite team, and you got to find a way to bounce back. And now just trying to take it all in and just take every day with the smallest step possible, and just taking it one day at a time, one game at a time. Because last year I was probably looking, I don't know what was going on too much, but probably not being focused and looking ahead too much. But now I'm right here in the right realm, in the right headspace, and I get a chance to reflect on so many years of trying to correct things the past 2 seasons. What could I learn from? And now I think these past 2 years have been very helpful on just becoming more resilient in my game.
Okay, so you said a lot there that I want to get in my psychology hat on here. You mentioned loving the game again. Was there a time when, in the last few years?
No, not loving it again. It never left me.
Okay.
I'm just saying, the focus needed to be enhanced a little bit more. The love never went away, but for anybody who was ever released, it was my first time ever experiencing that. The love hurts, and you're still part of it. With the whole heart, you want to be there, but it's about what you can do to bounce back. I didn't let it try to reign over me anymore. I understood the process, but now they brought me back in for another opportunity, and it's up to me to figure out what I wanted to do with that opportunity. It had nothing to do with the love of the game, because it's always going to be there for me when I hang my head up one day and and I'll start coaching because it's always going to be instilled. But I think right now I'm in the proper headspace of becoming the veteran of the room and making sure I stay on my P's and Q's.
Okay, so then let me ask you more about that kind of stuff because that's fascinating to me. After the Super Bowl, look, some guys, it's an exhausting time off season. Looking back, did you do the right things with the time that you had? If you could do it over again, would you do things differently after winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, some things here and there. Being more on top of the upcoming season, starting earlier. Just finding that common ground, that balance. It can deal with outside stressors that I could have kept myself away from, kept myself on track because, young guy coming into the league, there's so many distractions. And you kind of forget the reason why you're there in the first place. And that's to always, keep your hard hat on and making sure your ears pinned back and nobody has to tell you what to do. So now I think it's a big learning curve for me. I wouldn't take anything back, but I would say the only thing I would do is slow it down more and not worry about the outside noise as much because I probably let it get ahead of myself and not had that chip on my shoulders as I should have carried it all the time. So now it's back on and it's not falling the hell off.
Good. I love that. Before we talk about right now, just one more little, I don't want to dwell on the negative, but I think it's really interesting. What did it feel like to get released? Like, how did it happen? And do you remember walking out of the building, like, feeling destroyed?
It's funny. Mine just happened on a phone call due to COVID reasons. So I guess I didn't get the door to slap me on the rear end. It was a phone call. Howie called me, just told me we're not going to offer you the tender. And then it just said basically out there in the open market, which is basically a release. But yeah, I experienced it. I didn't hurt too much because I know what type of player I am and I know what type of player I can be. So what did I want to do with that learning curve? Build from it and not strike out a third time. And that's what I told Juice. I don't want to strike out a third time. 2 years isn't what I wanted to go through, but all right, enough is enough. I'm ready to get back on the ball here.
So how did you get back on the ball, Corey? What's so different about Corey Clement in 2020?
Just the regimen I went through, just pushing myself to the highest limit, so that when I got back to practice, it didn't feel like practice. I felt like I was having fun. I was enjoying it. I wasn't sluggish this year in camp. I just felt amplified. I felt excited. And when you get that pop and that step back, it's a gorgeous feeling. To know that your body is under you, your feet are under you, your head is on your shoulders, and that you're ready to play some more ball.
So you could actually, like, literally feel it.
Yeah, no, seriously. You feel it in your step. You feel it in your confidence walking in and out the room. You feel it in the grand scheme of things mentally within the playbook, and you're like, all right, now I can play fast. Because this year, my fourth year, I'm learning so much more. It's not even funny. Because TJ Pagnetti, Deuce has been an awesome resource within the playbook, and just this year alone, the past 6 months, I think I've enhanced my IQ within the offense more, and that's allowed me to play much faster.
Awesome. How excited are you for Sunday?
I'm more than excited. It feels like it's been the longest year without football. So I think I'm speaking for everybody. It's time to get going.
Is there a sense of you really don't know what to expect with no fans? You're playing a team that you haven't, new coaching staff. You don't know what, you don't have preseason tape to look at. I mean, do you kind of go into this thing a little bit curious about how it's all going to play out?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you understand what football has normally come with, the energetic fans, the sideline shenanigans that go on. And that's football. You enjoy the vibe, you enjoy the energy that it brings. But this year we had to adapt and attack, and that was our philosophy that Doug was saying, the team who takes this time period serious as possible and works with it is a team that's going to come out on top. And I strongly believe that because we got so many COVID guidelines to go by, and it can be stressful if you don't take care of it ahead of time. So I think if we eliminate those distractions by just saying, okay, we don't have fans, it's not the end of the world, and we can still play football between the lines, it's still go time. Now, the whistle's still going to blow. minutes each quarter, and we got a game to win. So let's get it going.
Corey, what are your thoughts on the offense? Do you feel like you have any sense at all of how good this group can be?
Oh, it's electrifying. I think everybody else on the outside is definitely excited to see what the 2020 season is doing, but I've seen the first glimpse in camp. This team is clicking. It shares the vibrance of the 2017 team, man. It's passionate. It's contagious in a great way. Young guys are being guided by the older guys. Older guys are being asked to guide the young guys, and that's what you want. You want something that's natural. You want something that's neutral within this whole team, and I think this team is clicking. I'm excited to see it get going.
Young group of running backs, Corey. Fans are like, "Whoa, this group's awfully young." Tell Eagles fans why there should be no nervousness about your room. Instead, everybody should be excited.
Because we put the hard work forward, and Deuce Staley wouldn't have collected these type of men for this running back core to take on the 2020 season. I believe that this is a group who's passionate. This is a group who's not going to back down from any defense. We understand the rigorousness of playing each down, taking it one step at a time, but this team is smart. This running back core is smart. And when you have smart and you have talent, talent can only take you so far, but the IQ and the talent mixed in is lethal. So they can just sit back a little bit and just enjoy the show that we're about to put on.
So, Corey, do you have a sense of your role? Is you going to get some touches? You feel good about the way things are shaping up?
Yeah, I feel great. I'm just ready to see what Sunday brings. Like you know me, I'm ready on all edges, special teams whenever they need me, offense. Maybe this week I will get some carries, but that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on getting this victory, getting us back on track, 1-0, and whatever comes with it, comes with it. You don't have to do too much to do your job and have some fun with it.
Do you have any sense of what Washington does defensively? They've got a really good group up front, right?
Yeah, I think that's the very strong key point of the defense. You got to tip your hat where it's needed. They got a strong core up front. They do a lot of this is a penetrating style of defensive line now that we're known that we're up against. Is Ron Rivera's defense. We got to know what to expect at all costs, because this is a new team with a new front face, basically, with Rivera being at the head of it, and you don't know what to expect. But we do know what we can expect on our end is prior to game planning, executing our plays on our end, and see how it rolls out, because we didn't have any preseason games to go over. So we just basically seeing how it is first few drives, and I know Doug is going to put together the best grand scheme of things to get us rolling and knock it out the park.
Nobody can wait, man. Can't wait. 1 o'clock cannot get here soon enough.
It can't.
Corey, thanks, man.
Will you be out there on the field?
No, man. I'm not traveling. Not traveling this way. I've been to every game, home and away, since 1987. Since 1987. But media doesn't need to be there for all this stuff. So I'm going to be back at the stadium at Lincoln Financial Field for all the games.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's going to be
well.
crazy.
Enjoy that for us.
Yeah, I will. Bring you good luck there.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate your time. Take care, Corey.
See you. All
right, bye-bye. Head coach Doug Pederson ready for Washington. It's the third time in 4 seasons that the Eagles open the season against Washington. So Pederson takes his team on the road in these uncertain times, looking for a W to get a leg up in the NFC East. Coach Doug, welcome to the regular season. How you feeling about the Eagles 2020?
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me here. It's finally here. We're excited to be into a game week, regular season week 1. Obviously, different times, unprecedented. We don't know necessarily what's happening without, we don't have fans. We got crowd noise, but how's the crowd noise going to be? The travel, all the protocols. So, we're just taking it one day at a time. We've accepted it, and we're preparing for the week.
How do you make sure the players are not distracted by all of those external elements?
My hat's off to the players and coaches for understanding the protocols, for understanding, the restrictions that are put in place for us. to keep our players and coaches safe, from COVID-19, and it's just a matter of us now kind of taking our bubble here at NovaCare on the road, staying overnight in a hotel, getting up the next day and going through our normal routine. I think for me as the head coach is trying to keep these guys to what they're used to, keeping the schedule pretty much the same as what we've had in the past, and it is what it is, but the guys have handled it very well.
In the hotel, okay, you're used to having your wife travel with you. You're used to going down and having a team meal. Explain now what you're faced with. You're not allowed to bring the missus, right? And maybe you are. And then you're not allowed to leave the hotel room. Is that part of the deal also?
Yeah, no, our families obviously, can't travel. Fans obviously at the stadiums won't be there, and really we're sort of self-quarantined to our hotel. We can move around the hotel itself, our meeting spaces downstairs, things of that nature, but really, they don't want us traveling outside, the hotel, going to, a lot of on the road too is enjoying the city that we go to, going out to dinner, seeing family, seeing friends, and that this year is not going to happen, obviously, and we got to make sure that we adhere to those protocols and keep ourselves safe and ready to go for Sunday.
All right, Doug, take me behind the scenes here. So you're sitting in your office upstairs here at the NovaCare complex. You hear a knock on the door, and Jason Peters walks in. Give me everything is that kind of how it started?
It's exactly how it started. I was preparing for practice and going through some notes in the script for practice today, and knock on the door. Jason Peters walks in, and he was excited too. I mean, I just asked him what was going on, what was up, and he said that he obviously he's thought long and hard about this as well, and he feels that our best opportunity right now to help us, win games is for him to slide back over to left tackle, and it just goes to show the type of professional that he is, the type of person he is, to sacrifice, to give up of himself for his teammates, to make this move. Obviously right here at the end of training camp, but also at the beginning of the regular season. So I was excited about that. I assured him that everything was going to be okay. We'll get him the proper reps over there to get him ready to go. But I was excited. He was excited, and I said, "Hey, man, let's put everything behind us and move forward and focus on Washington."
So, in that instance, Doug, when you're excited, do you jump up and give him a virtual high five? I mean, what do? Do you take it in stride, like, cross that little concern off the list?
Yeah, no, obviously, both of us had our masks on and we were protecting each other, and we were within our. We stayed socially distant initially, but then, man, I had to go in and get a bump and just tell him that I was obviously proud of him and for making this decision, that we were excited, we were going to roll and put all the pieces together, get him back over there where he's comfortable. And but listen, he did a great job at right guard too. We were preparing to play him at right guard, as long as we needed to, and he was doing an outstanding job there. But he came to the conclusion that he wanted to move back to the left side, and he feels comfortable there too.
Doug, how are you going to play it on Sunday? What's the approach offensively? Not really knowing what Ron Rivera's defense is going to do, and really not knowing what you have to a degree, because you haven't seen anybody in preseason games.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing, going against a new coaching staff. A different scheme on defense. They're kind of transitioning out of their 34 personnel into a 4-3. And so we have history with Coach Rivera. We have history with Jack Del Rio. We got to be able to put the pieces together, and it's really our best guess, and as we prepare for this game. But, it's one of the things I think when you come out of training camp, you've worked on so many things that you just got to stick to what you know and just go down there and just execute. It's still football. You got to trust your rules. You got to trust your eyes, what you see. Stay disciplined within your scheme. Just take it one play at a time.
Doug, a lot of people have talked about their defensive front. Ryan Kerrigan, the Alabama kids inside, Ioannidis, and then they go out and draft Chase Young. I mean, just what are you expecting from them up front on Sunday?
I expect them to roll all those guys through there, and then you factor in Montez Sweat, kid they picked up last year in the draft, and this is a formidable defensive front, and they got linebackers that can run, and it's just a matter of us just executing our scheme and however we put the plan together this week. But this is a good test for us right out of the gate. I mean, everybody's excited. It's week one. Obviously 0-0 as far as the record, win-loss record goes, and again, it's a good test for our offensive line. It's a good test for our backs, from a protection standpoint. But we just got to continue to prepare this week and be ready to go.
Versus other seasons, do you feel that you know less about the Eagles right now just because you haven't been on the field as much as you had in previous years?
I think the biggest thing, Dave, is really not having the preseason games to where we can really evaluate our young players. Yeah, I think for the most part, every team in the National Football League, we know a lot about our veteran players and the guys that have been around, and things of that nature. And obviously, you can go off a lot of tape, for the free agents, the new guys on the team. But it's those young players that missed out on, these preseason games where you really got to see, I think, an evaluation process as a coach, and then for them also to kind of get the speed of the game, and understand the speed of the game, because this will be a different experience for all our young players on Sunday, afternoon, and it's just a matter of them just and really for me just kind of sort of educating them during the week and really having our veteran players sort of coach them up on the speed of the game and what to expect.
What is the message daily this week to the players?
The message daily is we just got to continue to work hard, and really we can't worry about our opponent. Obviously, it's that 1-0 mentality, each week, and let's focus on what we do and get better at what we do, and we got to continue to work. I mean, it's we've only been in pads for here a couple of weeks, right, 2.5 weeks or so, and so we're kind of coming into that third week now, but it's game week and it's a division opponent, so. Those are all things that sort of factor in, and you try to get off, on the right foot. You try to go 1-0 this week against a really good football team.
Doug, given all that, can you talk about the chemistry, some of the things that you've seen from leadership in the locker room, leadership during some tough times here? What's it been like?
I've been really proud of the guys. I think of Rodney McLeod. I think of Malik Jackson, Fletcher Cox. Even JP, Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, guys that have really stepped up. Jason Kelsey. That have really, Deshaun Jackson, guys that have really stepped up during this, during not only the COVID pandemic, but also what's happening in our society and really rallying the guys, supporting the guys, but at the same time focusing on football. And, at the end of the day, we are here to play football and to win football games, but probably more importantly is taking care of one another, understanding one another each and every day, and putting our best foot forward, so to speak, with a lot of issues that surround not only our players, but also our city and our country at this time.
Last one, Doug. You mentioned Deshaun Jackson. We haven't heard a lot from him in this preseason, this training camp. What has he been like on the football field, and what do you expect from him starting Sunday?
I tell you, he's been really really good in the classroom. He's been really good on the practice field. He's healthy. He feels good. He's excited for the season. He was disappointed last year. He had to miss pretty much the entire season last year, and he's ready to go. He's chomping. He's ready to get out there, be with his teammates. Obviously, he and Carson, getting on the same page, and he's really embraced the role of leadership, with the young receivers that we have, and taking them under his wing. So look forward, to watching him play this fall and finding ways to get him the football. He's still explosive, and he'll be a great target for Carson.
Can't wait to see it on Sunday. The Eagles at the Washington football team. Doug Pederson, our weekly one-on-one. Thanks so much, and let's get to 1-0 on Sunday. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Doug. An interesting note over the weekend as the Eagles established their practice squad, which now sits at 15 players. As an emergency quarterback, they've added Josh McCown. Now, McCown was on the team in 2019. He took over for Carson Wentz in the playoff loss to Seattle. And the last time we saw McCown, he was limping around the football field playing with a torn hamstring. But as the Eagles prepare for every possible scenario in this 2020 pandemic season, the idea of an emergency quarterback Well, here's an interesting way to approach it. The team has signed McCown to the practice squad at the age of 41. He'll live in Texas. He'll take part in the team's meetings from a virtual standpoint. And he'll be ready if the pandemic hits the Eagles quarterback room. McCown on Tuesday met with the media and described his return to the Eagles in a most enlightened way.
First of all, it starts with the global pandemic. And as everyone just trying to sort all this out, some of the obviously the rules and things, the expanded practice squad and all that changed, and then there was an understanding this kind of new world that we're operating in is what happens if the quarterback room gets the virus. So I think that was what initiated the conversations, and so they reached out and we started discussing it and what that would look like, and being able to kind of distance myself, be safe, but still be able to hopefully bring some virtual value to the team and help out that way. So that's really kind of what happened, and started talking about it a couple weeks ago. That'll be the idea. I'll hop into yesterday we got a chance to get into the Zoom meetings, and it was cool to listen to Coach Pederson talking the team meeting, and then connecting with the quarterbacks, and then hop on and watch practice. As soon as the guys film practice, they get it uploaded. And I was texting Carson late last night about some things I saw during practice and just how sharp I thought it looked. So like I said, for me, it's just watching, being involved in the meetings, because you can't just watch practice and be able to bring anything of value if you don't know the intention of what you're trying to get done. So being a part of the meetings, seeing the installations, listening to the plays, and what Press and Rich and the guys have come up with and their intent of these plays, then hopefully I can bring some value if needed to those guys, as they dialogue, on how reads go and different things, and just be another sounding board for Carson. So that's my thought process. This is obviously new to me, and so I'll be learning, but I'll wake up every day, asking myself how I can bring value to the team from a distance, and it'll start with just virtually and watching the practice and being involved in the meetings, and then we'll go from there.
And finally, a lot has changed with Washington since the Eagles last played at FedEx Field in December. Back then, they were known as the Redskins. Their coaching staff was on the way out. They were a team certainly in transition. Well, they have been in a wild offseason, from off-the-field allegations against owner Daniel Snyder to a name change from Redskins to football team. A new head coach, Ron Rivera, is in, although he's got some complications. He's ill with cancer. This is a young, talented football team that potentially has a lot of distractions. But in week one for the Eagles, Washington represents a major challenge on the road against a defense that is potentially as good as any in the NFL. We bring in, from the Washington football team website, Zach Selby with an inside look at the football team. Okay, so it's Sunday, the Eagles at the Washington football team, and from WashingtonFootballTeam.com, I guess it's called, Zach Selby joins us. What a crazy... Last time we spoke, Zach, it was post-draft, and we were kind of thinking at that time what the Redskins and the Eagles would look like.
Yep.
What has this whole thing been like for you and for the football team, along with Ron Rivera, new head coach, Ron Rivera getting sick? I mean, it has been a wild offseason for Washington.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty much been you throw the whole kitchen sink in there for this this crazy training camp with no preseason games, and Washington has pretty much done the best they can for the better part of this past month. Honestly, we've been out there, and it's been a little weird, not being able to go up to the players and talk to them after practices, and you have to follow these safety and protocol rules. And on top of that, like you mentioned, we have Ron Rivera getting cancer of all things on top of it all. But a lot of times, this coaching staff has said that Ron Rivera has very much been a rock through all this, and he's been our guiding force really through everything. Even his own diagnosis of cancer, and it's even when he had cancer, he told the players, "Look, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to beat it." He's very calm and confident about it, and as he goes, everyone else in this building goes. And honestly, like that's very comforting, given the unusualness of this year for sure.
Yeah, and can't say anything but great things about Ron Rivera. Knew him very well, know him very well. What a great man. We all wish him the very best. Let's talk football here, Zach. What do you think you know about this football team? Let's begin with the offense.
Well, I think, on offense, they've been preaching versatility for, I guess, about 6 months now, and it's very obvious that they want to have a lot of guys doing a lot of different roles in this offense. And so far, I mean, they're doing a lot of crazy stuff, and it looks clean. I mean, like it seems like everyone is adjusting really well to the system that Scott Turner is trying to incorporate here in Washington. And I'm looking at Dwayne Haskins, and I've seen a lot of growth out of him in the past couple weeks, and you saw improvement just about every single day. And there's one part where he was throwing about 13, 14 passes in a row without an interception or an incomplete pass, and he's been throwing touchdowns in the red zone. He's looked really good. Then I'm looking at the running back position, and I see all these different talents that we have, outside of cutting Adrian Peterson, which was, I think that was a shock to everybody. But they have 4 really quality backs here that can pretty much do exactly what they want. Is that multiplicity, I guess you could say. Have that threat to do almost whatever they want out of the backfield, and it's going to be interesting to see what they have. Obviously they're not going to be able to show us everything for the playing gamesmanship there, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of offense they throw out there, because it's going to be different from what we've seen last year, definitely.
Yeah, we know about Haskins, who had a big game against the Eagles in December. Tell me a little bit about the running back, just a couple of specifics. Antonio Gibson, a rookie, 3rd-round pick. Is he going to be the main guy, do you expect?
Well, I'll say this. They do have a very specific plan for him, although, Rivera said with a smile and a wink that he's not going to reveal it to us just yet. We can kind of sort of guess as to what he's going to be, and let me tell you, he looks explosive in a lot of ways. First of all, he has that speed. I mean, I think he runs a 4.39 40 time, which is just amazing. That's rare speed even for the NFL. So he can beat you on the outside. And then on top of that, he can absolutely he can run between the tackles if he really needs to. He's got some thump to him, I guess you could say, similar to what AP has with his size. And he's bigger than you think, but he's able to have that receiver lineage that he has at Memphis, so he knows how to operate as a receiver. But on top of that, he has the ability. He looks very natural as a runner to me. It just looks like he's been playing that position his whole life, and it's apparent every day. And one of the quotes that I keep bringing up a lot is he said that he views himself as a weapon for this offense, and that's pretty much what they're going to do. They see him as a true running back, but can also be used in just about any way that you can imagine for him.
At wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, 2 big games against the Eagles last year. How does he look, number one? How does he look in year 2? And then who's the other receiving threats for Washington?
Well, starting with Terry, I mean, he and Dwayne Haskins have worked together pretty much all summer in some way, and you can tell that their chemistry is just on point 100% of the time. And I mean, anytime he targets Terry in training camp, you knew there was a really good chance that he was going to catch that ball, not because just one of his natural ability, but 2, they work so well in sync together. I mean, they're pretty much crossed in a lot of ways. And our wide receiver coach Jim Hosser pretty much said that he really wants to see Terry manage the expectations, because you mentioned he had a really good year last year, and not everyone is going to be just not paying attention to him anymore. The defenses are going to scheme specifically for him. That's what you want for a number one guy. And so far, it looks like the Terry has stepped up to that challenge, and they're really pleased with what they have out of him going into year two. And then, Dontrell Inman is a guy that we saw a lot of in training camp, and he came in. He's a late addition. He came in August, but he's pretty much been stepping up as the number two guy from what we've seen in the lineups. And he's has that veteran presence, and he's 31 years old. He's already had more experience than everybody else on the receiving core, and you can really tell that he's brings that experience, and he's really kind of taken a couple of the young receivers under his wing. And then I guess the last guy that really just stood out to me a lot was Steven Sims, and that was an undrafted guy last year, and he's really made a name for himself in the scheme as a slot receiver, and he's got that speed as well. And I don't think we really had an official time for him, but I think he's somewhere around the 4.4, low 4.4s, and he knows how to get open in the middle of the field and really just use his speed after he catches that ball to just separate himself. So those three guys, they have a lot of expectation for those three, and they're really good options for Dwayne as well.
All right, on the other side of the ball, Zach, I mean, it seems to me that this game comes down to how will the Eagles match up against the Washington front seven? How good is that front seven?
Man, it's young, but it is extremely talented because, you look at Chase Young, and there are some moments when I look at Chase and just seeing how physically gifted he is, it's a wonder to me that we are even the same species because he's just insane. I mean, he's dealing with a hip flexor for a lot of training camp, but it didn't take long for you to realize that this guy is definitely worthy of being the number 2 overall pick. He was batting down passes. He was lighting up Adrian Peterson. We talked about him a little bit earlier, but there was a goal line play where he met AP in the hole and brought him down. It was probably one of the bigger highlights of his performance in camp. And then you got Montez Sweat, who has put on a little bit of weight, and he looks like a guy that he's on a mission to really prove himself and expand his role in year 2. And then, you also, on top of that, you have Ryan Kerrigan, and, he's a 1.5 sacks away from being this franchise's sack leader. And then, you look at the linebacker group, and that's a young group, but also they've got some really good experienced players with Thomas Davis Sr. out there leading veterans, and knowing how Ron Rivera likes to make this culture. And Kevin Pierre-Louis is a guy also that this coaching staff was really excited about heading into training camp. And then he didn't have a lot of time in Chicago, didn't have a lot of success, but he comes out in camp and he's really been the guy to look at in a lot of ways. He's making some athletic moves, and on top of that, you have Cole Holcomb, another guy entering his second year that has shown a lot of really good flashes as well. So this is a good mix on front seven, and they have a lot of really good talent on the front end, and then some good experience on the back end. It's a good mix, and I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Zach, it's the week 1 of the NFL. How can anybody really possibly know what to expect from their team? So we go into Sunday, typically a shootout in the NFC East.
Yeah, it's really going to be the first time that these two teams have really seen another team on the opposite side of the field. I bet they're really itching to see what's going to happen and get to hit somebody else for the first time in a month. And it might end up being a shootout because the last 2 games, the one in December at least was a shootout, and it could end up being. I don't foresee both these offenses for Philadelphia and Washington have that big play ability with multiple players out there. You have Deshaun Jackson out there with the Eagles, then you have Terry and Dwayne and Gibson out there on Washington. It's going to be a big test of talents, I think, for these two teams. And we can't look too much into week 1 normally, but this is going to be a good barometer to see what we're going to have out of these two franchises for the rest of the year.
Zach Selby, thanks so much. Good luck on Sunday, and stay safe, my man.
All right, man. You too. Take it easy.
Take care. And that will do it for this episode of the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. Thanks to Peter Kelly and Ray Doyle for their work. Thanks to all of you for listening. If you have a chance to drop us a 5-star review, we would appreciate it. It always helps, inside and outside, having Eagles fans find the podcast. I'll be back on Friday. The podcast goes 3 times a week now with our tailgate edition of the Eagles Insider Podcast. I'm Insider Dave Spadaro saying thanks for joining, everyone. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! We want you to know about all the podcasts in the Eagles network of podcasts. So make sure you tune in to not only this Eagles Insider Podcast 3 times a week, but make sure you subscribe and listen to the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, our Journey to the Draft podcast Tuesday and Thursday, and our Eagles Update podcasts, which give you the news in a flash, Monday through Saturday throughout this 2020 season. Sign up, subscribe, and listen to our Eagles network of podcasts.